Hey guys, Bubba here with the Bubba News, all in one word, all in one news. I have not done this video yet. I wanted to do a video a couple days ago. I couldn't even press the record last night because this talk is going to be about Hamas ceasefire talks. The latest Gaza ceasefire deal news kind of scenario. So this might be kind of boring to some of you guys, but if you're in the mood for some ceasefire talks, then this is the video for you. Oh, guys, I can't believe it's already a Friday again. And now, by the time this probably gets uploaded, it'll be Saturday. And this whole week has just flown by. So much insanity still going on in the Middle East. I was putting this up on Telegram last night, and it feels like the war just stopped. With these ceasefire talks, but it hasn't stopped. And even tonight, like Israel hit in southern Lebanon and killed some people, and they might be some Hamas or Hezbollah terrorists that they were going after. But I mean, it's still going on. But maybe just wanted to jump into some of this and get you caught up real quick. I liked actually to do a live stream tomorrow, Saturday. I don't even know what day that is now, 17th. Maybe 8:30 p.m. Eastern, something like that. I just want to find out when my kids get off work. I think one of them might work till 8 p.m. So I got to be the good daddy. Go get her. But yeah, there's just so much to get caught up on. Live stream with you guys. I love the interaction. I love the camaraderie, the fellowship. That's the best, you know, in these final days, looking for the Lord Jesus Christ and watching the Bible just unfold right before our very eyes. And seeing all this stuff starting to come to pass. And it seems like, Lord, move this faster, move this forward so, you know, things can begin to happen. But, you know, it hasn't happened yet. So, you know, God is long-suffering, and he doesn't want any single person to perish. And there's going to be some perishing coming up with these wars that are coming up and whatnot. But let's get right to the ceasefire stuff. That was my kiddo dinging in with a text message, so I got to keep up with her. I have a feeling that's probably her new schedule for next week as I'm talking about her. She's probably upstairs. But, you know, this whole thing's been going on with this ceasefire thing. And they made mention to it last week that it was coming up this week, Thursday the 15th. Well, it extended to the 16th, today, Friday, and even the Israeli delegation, they stayed overnight, and they're keeping some junior guys there over the weekend in Qatar to see what they can pull up. But they're going to resume talks again coming up on probably Wednesday through Friday time frame next week. So we'll have to watch that. I know they want to get this war kicked off before September 4th, 5th time frame. Something else I was seeing, but anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, talks are expected to continue next week in Cairo, so they're moving from Qatar to Egypt, and it's fascinating too because you have the Mossad guy, you've got the CIA guy, who's part of the mediators. We'll get to that in a second, but it's kind of fishy. But anyway, you know, and Qatar has stressed to Iran and Hezbollah that now is not a good time to attack, because we're trying to get this ceasefire thing done. We want to get this hostage deal done. But it's a lot deeper than what, like, you'll hear in the media and the U.S. is trying to proclaim. Like Biden today, like, we've made such great progress, and this is the best thing that's happened in the past 48 hours. And, you know, it's just, anyway. So, you know, the question is whether Hezbollah, Iran, or even Israel will behave until these talks get completed. So here's what I started off with this morning, because here's what I said. I said, wake me up when the light turns green. Netanyahu and Hamas have so far rejected the ceasefire agreement and say it's not even close, which is why they're going to continue the talks next week. Hamas said, we reject the new conditions set by Israel in the agreement proposed in Doha. Meanwhile, Biden says they are closer than ever before. I do expect more cheerleading from the United States in the days to come. Biden on the summit, we are closer to a deal than we were 3 days ago. It's because 3 days ago you weren't talking. But anyway, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, he is flying into Israel. He's leaving tomorrow, Saturday, and we'll get there on Sunday to start meeting with Netanyahu on Monday. Secretary of State Blinken is going to meet with Netanyahu on Monday. He's going to try to persuade, pressure, and sweet-talk Netanyahu into getting this deal done, quote-unquote. The USA is going to continue to try to pull a rabbit out of the Middle East hat. Earlier today, Biden said that the ceasefire process is in the end game. So I had to go do some DoorDash this afternoon and whatnot. Oh, speaking of, for those of you who have donated, speaking of DoorDash, I just want to say thank you. Seriously. You guys are awesome. I've got set up the Venmo, the Cash App, the PayPal, and that Give, Send, Go thing. It's really neat, so I'm trying to figure out that. And I need to figure out how to send out thank you notes, like old school emails or something, and just say thank you. But there's been some anonymous, and there's been some people with real names, so it's kind of fun. And some people have reached out to me on the text that you'll see in the description box below. But yeah, thank you guys. But yeah, that's helping me. We can get stuff done here. So I said I just got home now, and I'm starting to look at the latest news from the ceasefire talks. That first post a little bit ago was at 12:30 this afternoon, and then this one is at almost 7:12. So it's almost 7 hours later. I'm just seeing more cheerleading, just like I thought. The USA will continue to be the biggest cheerleader on the sideline and say, we're going to win, even though we're down 50 points with less than 5 minutes left in the game. The USA is going to continue to say these talks are going to go forward. It's going to be a good thing. We'll see. I said the USA ceasefire cheerleading continues. And this is from an article. Here's what I mean. Ceasefire negotiators in Qatar are coming off of what a senior Biden administration official is calling the most constructive 48 hours of the negotiation process in months, with what the USA mediators are calling the final bridging proposal in place, supposedly. The mediators are so hopeful that this can be agreed upon, with talks concluding in Cairo next week. It was a consensus of all the participants here over the last 48 hours that there really is a new spirit here to drive this to a conclusion, said the official speaking from Qatar. I said gaslighting 101 in my humble opinion, but it might be holding off the rocket fire for now. So that is a very good thing that it is, holding off the rocket fire. But you know what? A senior Israeli official went on Israeli TV tonight, and they told the Khan public broadcaster that some progress was made in Qatar on several controversial aspects of the hostage deal being negotiated. So there is some progress moving forward. But the official said that this progress was only being made between Israel and the mediators. That's it. That's the only progress moving forward, is between Israel and the mediators. Hamas will have to respond to these new arrangements, apparently. Hamas has already stated that if there's anything new, Hamas said it will be no deal. A Hamas official has called on the mediators to pressure Israel to agree to the latest proposal that Hamas submitted last month in early June. That offer saw Hamas give in on a few things, but Hamas included a series of new conditions, many of which are still rejected by Israel and the mediators. Hamas says it is committed to an agreement with Israel only on the terms that Hamas has set last month. I'm going to pause it real quick because my dog is getting antsy. I'll be right back. We have a 15-year-old rat terrier that me and Mrs. Bubba have, and her dog became my dog since I've been out in the garage so much, as the doggy's just sitting over here with me, but doggy was thirsty. So we're going to finish up, but I told you, this is going to be about hostage deal talks and whatnot. But at least, you know what, at least we've got a lot of the outside noise pollution with the insects down right now. But getting back to where we were, I wanted to bring up, too, about every party that's involved in the Hamas talks. Because they're all in it for themselves, for a piece of the pie. It's really weird. Check this out. Every party involved in hostage deal negotiations has an interest in making the Qatar talks seem productive. Except Hamas. We'll see whether or not a deal is reached next week. Okay, here's Israel. The appearance that progress was made in negotiation lowers some of the pressure on the Israeli government from the Israeli citizens that have been protesting. Plus, Netanyahu knows that if he pulls out of this deal or if he gets this deal done and the whole thing stops with Gaza, he's pretty much out of a job. And that's part of their plan, too, because they want him out. More and more people are wanting him out, even on the global scene. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But, Israel's appearance that progress is being made lowers some of the pressure from the Israeli citizens. Israel knows that the ongoing talks also may be delaying a significant attack from Hezbollah and or Iran. With Israel acting like they are willing to make a deal currently, they are also showing the world that it's Hamas that is the party that is preventing a deal from being reached. So Israel's playing it to their benefit. The USA, Biden wants to end the war in the Middle East before his term is over, and the U.S. wants to avoid any escalation that would drag it further into war. Because the United States is more focused with Zelensky and NATO and his European buddies up there with Macron and whatnot. So he doesn't, Biden's not he's not been to Israel what other presidents haven't been in the past and whatnot. But anywho, Qatar. The appearance that Doha-mediated talks are helping is keeping Qatar's relationship with Hamas and Iran out of the limelight, because Qatar is in bed with Hamas and with Iran and has been keeping the Ismail Haniyeh living in Qatar in safety before he was eliminated a little over 2 weeks ago in Tehran. But it's keeping their relationship with Hamas and Iran out of the limelight right now because Qatar is hosting this. So they're like, oh, look at us, we're helping. Qatar doesn't want any more external scrutiny and or sanctions. Egypt, now, they want to prevent any spillover from the war in Gaza to come its way. In other words, Egypt doesn't want any of the Hamas people to come into Egypt. Egypt's efforts as a mediator is also helping to sideline criticism and or pressure over its refusal to reopen the Rafah crossing. I put in here also, it also keeps the Hamas tunnels going into Egypt that have been found and destroyed by the IDF lately a side issue for now. Just in the past week, last week even, Israel found and destroyed over 50 tunnels in southern Gaza, Rafah area, and of course the IDF won't say how many go directly to Egypt. But even their military people were talking tonight, and they still believe that Hamas could have up to 15,000 fighters still left, even though Israel is going to say there's less than 500. Because Israel believes now that there are still hundreds of kilometers left of Gaza tunnels that they have not yet found. That could be 100 to 200 miles still of tunnels that Israel has not found. Israel says that they need 6 months minimum to 12 months to be able to find the majority, if not all of them. I don't know if they'll ever be able to find all of them, but they're getting there. So Hamas on this part, because Qatar and Egypt and Israel and Biden and everyone sucking up, for this ceasefire deal. Hamas side, Sinwar has proven that he doesn't care how many of his fellow Gazan human shields die. Hamas's top priority is maintaining control of the Gaza Strip, period. Additionally, Hamas's hope from October 7th was that the attack would launch a regional war. And it hasn't happened yet, but it's still coming. Sinwar can't wait to see this mega war explode, because then he will take pride in knowing that he helped start it all. It's a pride thing. Hamas also has the least to use in tanking these negotiations and refusing to make any concessions. Hamas knows the Iranian proxy war is coming still, with Hezbollah, the Houthis, and others, Syria, Iraq. All Sinwar has to do is wait and try to stay alive without Israel assassinating him next. But then I switched over to this evening into the stuff too, because the rhetoric with Hezbollah and Iran still aren't going away. Watchman River was talking about that earlier today, how Hezbollah, Iran, when they promise something like this, even the Houthis, this weekend will be 4 weekends now since the Houthis port was hit. In Israel today, and that's why I put this up, because Israel today, or yesterday actually, they're preparing for, and this was a big old refueling training exercise that they were practicing on bombing Iran. The Israeli Air Force yesterday conducted a long-range refueling exercise in apparent preparations for a potential strike in Iran. Make no mistake, Israel is ready. In a statement, the IDF says the drill simulated a long-range flight deep into enemy territory while conducting aerial refueling several times in short periods. The drill was carried out over Israeli airspace. It involved one of Israel's Boeing 707 refueling planes and several F-35I and F-15 fighter jets. Notice how Israel is practicing on their own equipment. We've got all those strato tankers that are down there in... what is it? It's Qatar, isn't it? Yeah, the Al Udeid Air Base down there. See what I mean? There's so much going on. It's hard to keep up, because I remember seeing where some of the latest guys have been landing at the air bases in Kuwait. But, they've been practicing with their own gear, because they can't depend on the United States. Israel still is waiting on 2 KC-46 refueling aircraft from the United States. It was supposed to be delivered in 2020, I believe. Israel has been on high alert amid an anticipated attack from Iran and its Lebanese proxy Hezbollah, and has warned that it will respond if such an attack is carried out. Israel will respond. And that goes on to my next thing I put up. It was from one of them. U.S. official warns Iran of cataclysmic consequences if it attacks Israel. The U.S. is warning Iran of cataclysmic consequences if Iran attacks Israel. A U.S. official warned Friday that Iran would face cataclysmic consequences and derail momentum toward a Gaza truce if Iran strikes Israel in response to the killing of the top Hamas official. The United States would encourage the Iranians not to move down that road, because the consequences moving down that road could be quite cataclysmic, particularly for Iran. This is the U.S. warning Iran. Israel wants to take them out as well. The Israeli Foreign Minister, Katz met today with the Foreign Minister of Britain and the Foreign Minister of France. The Israeli Foreign Minister Katz met Friday in a joint meeting with his British and French counterparts. Israel's Foreign Minister Katz said that he expected UK and French support in quote-unquote attacking significant targets inside Iran if Iran strikes Israel. I thought it was only Israel that wants to take out Elam Iran. I thought maybe the United States would help with the Elam Iran. Now we might have the UK and France joining in. We'll talk about that in a second in Jeremiah 49:37. But it says enemies plural. Asked about Katz's comments, the U.S. official said that the United States, Britain, France are preparing for every possible contingency. It sounds like the UK and France even might get on board with the attack on Elam Iran still to come, possibly joining forces with Israel in the USA. That's what my conjecture was. Because the way that article read, it was like, what? I should post these, but it's just Jerusalem Post and a couple others. Times of Israel, maybe. And a lot of their stuff is just, they're spin doctors, and the AI has taken over just to write these articles. And, you've got to weed through half of these articles anymore to even understand them. And then you've got to weed through the baloney that's just like, yeah, I don't see that. I mean, but here's what I put up too. The attack on Iran is still coming one day soon. And I put up the little image, and we got this from... see, I can't do one of these without doing this for you guys. I always mess it up. There, if I just tilt it down like that. You've got Bushehr 1, Bushehr 2, and Bushehr 3. They're still finishing building 2 and 3, but those are all 3 nuclear plants there in Iran. of the Elam area. And that's what I was trying to showcase on the Telegram side. Bushehr 1, 2, and 3 are on Israel's hit list. So are the majority of Iran's ballistic missiles and drone launch sites, which are on the western side of Iran. Because that section of Elam only encompasses about 20% of Persia, Iran. Elam is only about 20%. And it's from the Zagros Mountains on this side of Tehran towards the Persian Gulf. And the Elamites, that's a really neat thing. But I said basically the entire Zagros mountain range west towards the Persian Gulf are targets by Israel. The mountain range going through where the eye of Iran is in the image, going west. But here's what it says in Jeremiah 49:37. God will shatter or dismay Elam before their enemies, plural. So it got me thinking, well, it could be more than just Israel. It could be the USA, it could be UK, it could be France helping them. God will bring evil or misery or distress or destruction upon Elam in God's fierce anger. This is in Jeremiah 49, verse 37. God will send the sword, which is a military term, after Elam until God has consumed them. And when you look into that word, consumed them, it basically means to finish them off, shatter them, destroy them. God continues to watch over his word as he continues to perform it. Jeremiah 1:12. And I hear my dog getting antsy, so I'm going to wrap it up tonight. But keep an eye out, because I probably am going to try to do a live stream tomorrow. Who knows what Saturday tomorrow holds for news with Israel, but it could be kind of cuckoo. You never know. Or it could be a bunch of baloney, but I expect to see more rhetoric starting to build up again from Iran and Hezbollah and even Israel to try to pressure the other side to get it done. But then you had Hezbollah today coming out with their, I believe it's the Iman. I saw it earlier. It's this new missile they have, Iman 4. And the videos are pretty, these are going to be some nasty rockets that are going to be coming to Israel. Especially from the north there, Hezbollah. Some insane times coming up. But, I mean, I want to talk with you guys about Bible prophecy and what I see coming up next with the news. Or not with the news. I could care less about that. But it's like we see the news and we see God's word and we see how, like, this is starting to really come together, God. This is really wild. And you know what? If anything, this is just another proof that God's word is from outside this time continuum. It's from outside this world. It's supernatural. It's God designed. It's God breathed out. I mean, the way it's so interconnected, there's no way 40 different Jewish men scattered over almost 2,000 years, most of whom never met each other, these men, could write things and have it connect supernaturally like it does, like a puzzle, and it just all fits together. Blows my mind. But guys, keep looking up, and I'll get going, but we'll talk to you soon.